Welcome to the Eat Y'all Podcast, where we discuss the struggles and successes of the farmers, food producers, and chefs who are working to get better ingredients into restaurants today and to ensure their availability in the future.
Eat Y'all is looking for partners to help us show some love to 500 hardworking chefs. With our Care Package program, you can encourage and inspire chefs who fit your target market. Learn more at eatyall.com/love. That's eatyall.com/love.
Welcome back to the Eat Y'all Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Chapman, and man, we've got some great conversations with two fantastic pastry chefs. Mariana, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, this is a great episode. We hear a little bit from these two ladies about how crazy this past year has been for chefs and pastry chefs in particular. And I know while you didn't stay focused on how hard things have been for very long, in this episode, we did hear about some of that. And that's good insight to kind of know where these chefs have been and what they're up to now.
Yeah, we will probably never be able to kind of categorize or put a number and impact on how much the rule changes and lockdowns and all of the different things that chefs have just fought with, not fought in a bad way, but just continued to overcome and adapt. And I love to hear how these ladies did that and how they're hanging in there with lots of hope. It was a lot of fun to visit with them.
I definitely heard a lot of laughter happening during this episode.
Yeah, I think that was when we got into the lightning round and Tonya was sharing some of her answers. We really should charge for this content. And matter of fact, one of the things, well, you'll hear about their dinner guests that they would invite.
One of them?
Well, I don't want to spoil it because one of them said they were going to invite Elvis. One of them said Gary Clark Jr. So you'll have to hear who was who. And then when we got into some of the further lightning round content, it was really great. But we have really enjoyed, we've had Brittany at Sweetest Chefs every year for how many years?
Gosh, I don't know. This next fall will be our 6th annual. So, of course, we had a skip year for 2020. But Brittany has been a longtime participant in our Sweetest Chefs event, which, if you're not familiar with that, is our annual live pastry chef showcase event. So if you want to wear your stretchy pants and taste delicious pastry delights, this event is for you. It'll be held in September in the Orange Beach area at the Wharf down there. So a great destination event. And I believe Brittany and Tonya are on tap to be with us this next year. That's right. So that's kind of fun. They also both, I think, participated in one of the first boxes that we sent with our Chef Care Package program, which we're currently promoting and getting folks to help us get care packages and product samples out to great chefs across the U.S. And so I think they'll talk a little bit about their experience,
you'll hear a little bit about that.
Getting a great box in the mail and what that meant to them and sampling products that way. So there's a lot of good ground to cover in this episode and also some good laughs. So I'm looking forward to hearing it.
All right, well, let's get to it. Welcome to this edition of the Eat Y'all Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Chapman, and I'm joined by a couple of great pastry chefs and actually just great people. And Tonya's a little more than a pastry chef right now with everything she's doing. But I want to welcome Brittany Garrigus-Cheatham.
Hello.
And Tonya Mays.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast, y'all.
Thank you for having me.
So and I know we're all on Zoom. So this is an adventure. We've done a couple of podcasts with one person on Zoom, but I think we're gonna make y'all have such great stories and great histories of doing so many amazing things. So I want to start with Tonya. Kind of tell us your culinary story, kind of in a nutshell. I know you're the chef at Kismet in Lexington, Kentucky. You're married to a good chef friend of ours. How did you get there?
Honestly, I was in nursing school for a couple years. I've always been in the kitchen with my grandmother. She raised me, so I just in the kitchen always, and decided one day to go on a whim and just do what I wanted to do versus what I thought I should do. So, and then I joined culinary school. Just everything was on a whim and ended up meeting Phil, and I've just been doing pastry since.
How long ago was that?
I was in nursing school maybe 10 years ago. God, how old am I? Yeah, 10 or 11 years ago. And then I graduated from Sullivan in 2014. And my first pastry chef job was at Dudley's on Short Street. And then from then on, I've just been here and there in some restaurants. And then now I own my own restaurant with Philip called Kismet.
Kismet, by the way, does not just sell pastries. They sell all sorts of crazy things. You guys have some favorites. You guys have some non-traditional fusions. You guys, what we ate when we were up there was amazing, and it was a little bit of everything. So that's really cool. So what about you, Brittany? Once you got released from prison? Oh, we weren't going to go there right away. We'll come back to that. I kid. Tell us how you got started, Brittany.
I was always that oddball in school that just never really fit in, but I knew that I could do something really cool with my life. And when I was 15, my mom said that she was an oncology nurse. She still is. And she was like, I have this patient that really wants something sweet. It's not really on her diet, but she's not doing well. And I was like, well, I have this new like Hershey's cookbook. I'm like 14 years old. Mom's like, well, why don't you bake her something? And I was like, okay, sure. So I baked her a toffee bit cheesecake. That was literally the first thing I've ever made. And that was the last thing that lady ever ate. That was her last sweet moment. And I kind of knew that that's where God kind of wanted me, is to bring happiness to others through my baking. So from 14, started doing my own thing at my house. And then 15, I started culinary school. I did dual enrollment through my high school with Jeff State. It kind of just took off from there. I started working with Diane Alexa, who owns her cake shop in Mountain Brook. And then from there, I went to Angel's Cakes and Confections and worked with them. That's where I got to work with chocolate a little bit and really like super 3D cakes. And then I started working for Bottega Highland Chez Fonfon for 2 years. That was really a great experience working for Frank Stitt. And then after that, I did The Club, which is a really famous dining club in Birmingham. It's kind of not doing so hot right now because of the pandemic and nobody can go to a dining club. But I was their executive pastry chef for 5 years. And then my last venture was with Satterfield's, being their executive pastry chef for 4 years, which was a lot of fun. But the pandemic kind of gassed me, to say the least. So I just kind of needed a breather break. And now I'm just helping a friend out with his pizza business and doing 3 little desserts and his bread. And I'm happy as a clam right now because I'm only working 20 hours a week and life is fantastic. And it's going to be hard to go back to a 40-hour job if I ever do plan to do that, which I have no plans of doing that. And I kind of want to do my own like baking blog and help my cousin out with his farm in Rabbittown, Alabama, which is Piedmont, Oxford, Anniston area of Alabama. So I'm excited about my new adventure. I feel like I got some wind in my sail, to say the least.
Oh, for sure. And I don't know if we clarified that Brittany is from Alabama. If y'all couldn't tell when she started talking, that is for sure. That is an authentic Alabama accent. I love that you brought Mama G into the conversation. I'm sure she'll be listening to this later. So yeah, we'll go ahead and say hey to Brittany's mom, who came to chef camp with her one time, and she's awesome. So you guys both kind of touched on effects of the pandemic in culinary, which we know it's hit everybody in different ways. It's certainly affected our business, but we're not selling food to customers every day and dealing with government regulations. And this week it's this and next week it's that and changes. So talk about that. I know, Tonya, you guys said, I think you're actually temporarily closed. So talk about what's going on with you guys up in Lexington.
Well, going back and forth with all the mandates that the governor has made, it was getting a little stressful. It was like we were changing from can't be open past 10 to now you can, no indoor dining, back to indoor dining, takeout only. So we felt like the best way to alleviate the mental stress of it was just to go on a little hiatus for a little bit, think of a game plan for how we can open safely. But it's been a lot of back and forth. It's like a roller coaster right now, trying to keep up with everything that's going on. So we're on a hiatus. It's been nice. My daughter is in virtual school, so I feel like I'm in 6th grade again. I'm doing mixed number fractions, and that's driving me crazy, but everything's been good. We're looking to open back up in February. So hopefully when the weather warms up and people can come back outside again, then we'll be able to sell food.
Because I guess outdoor dining means different challenges depending on where you are. And you guys are in a little colder climate than we are, 5 miles from the water down here. we're not on the, on the West Coast and some of those places where it's like, oh, well, it's sunny all the time. Maybe that's a little different. But one of the things both of y'all mentioned, and Brittany, you kind of touched on it a little bit, like just getting a little mental clarity and sanity. Like, what has that been like working in, it's like, as a parent, when you tell your kids, okay, I need you home by 3:00, and then you call them and say, well, I need you to come home at 3:15. I know that I have frustrated my children tremendously by changing my mind on what they were required to do. And sometimes for good reason, right? Like, well, we need to leave earlier for the thing that we were going to go do. So I changed what I told you. But I know that I know how frustrating just that little thing is. And that's not like their whole life's work changing on the drop of a dime. But you guys have kind of plowed through a lot of challenges. What's that been like?
For me, it's just been just touch and go. When it all started, and when it really started, like in March, when everybody was like, yeah, freak out time, when everybody lost their minds, we were a fine dining restaurant. We had to change everything to go food. We did that for a while, did the best we could with that. And I think we did pretty solid. We had a tight knit team. We had to furlough all of our servers. We had to furlough a couple of our cooks. So that was hard. And then when we would get busy, it's like we were doing the same amount of work with less people. And then if someone got coronavirus, we had to shut down, then we get everybody tested and blah, 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 blah. It's just, it's just really frustrating. Then we finally opened up at 50% capacity. Again, had to wait for people. If they got coronavirus, we had to shut down, make sure everybody was good. At one point, our manager and our executive chef had it, and another line cook. So we were closed for, I think, 7 days or something like that. So, I mean, we made it. We made it through. I think at that point for me, I was just kind of like, I think I need a sabbatical. I think I need to refresh my brain. And I actually asked some other pastry chefs that I look up to, like, what they thought about that. And they go, no, I think that's a good thing. I think if you are at a point in your life where you have the luxury of putting everything on pause and just kind of sitting back and seeing, what you can really do, I think that's good. So I'm lucky enough to have a husband that, has a good job with Alabama Power, that I can do that, and being at home a little more and just kind of taking a breather has been huge for me. I don't have stomach ulcers. I don't have splitting migraines. I actually got to get my nails done. Woo! Really happy about that. I mean, I got my nails done for the first time yesterday in like a year, and I was like, I don't know how to act right now. And like, it's been really nice. So there's my fill on it.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Back to you. It's like the hand the baton back and forth.
Yeah.
And Tonya, you kind of mentioned some of the, things you guys went through. Do you feel like supported by the culinary community and the people around you, or do you kind of feel like you're hanging, or just like out there in limbo, like waiting for what's next?
I think if I reached out to anybody, they would help me out. But I think it's just that we're all in limbo. We know that a lot of restaurants around the country have closed, and we're all kind of in that sketchy place of, what do we need to do next? I do know, like, during the beginning of the pandemic, the Lee Initiative that I was part of 2 years ago, we did a community feeding. They're still doing it now. We were doing it in Lexington for all of the culinary people around town, and whoever needed it could come get a meal at the end of the day. We were giving like some staple groceries like diapers, wipes, canned goods, bread, things like that. So we have come together as a community to help each other out. It's just such an uncertain time for everyone, though.
Yeah, I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but sometimes that light at the end of the tunnel is still a train. So you gotta don't want to get too excited about the light. You feel like you're like, oh, is that it? I've kind of heard a little bit of both of your stories. I mean, I've talked to Phil, who has told me a little bit about, how things are going in Lexington. And, we try to check in with our chefs as often as we can. One of the things that we got the opportunity to do this year was send you guys that box. And I certainly didn't know everything that was going on, but we know that it's a stressful time. I've tried to encourage people on my own social media and, hey, check on somebody, go, and everybody wants to support the restaurant community. I mean, I remember the first 2 weeks, it was like, buy gift cards. And then it was like, that's not going to be enough. And then it was, it's like what you can do to help and what your options are as restaurants close and reopen and repurpose and take out and then everything. It's kind of been this jumbled mess, but we got to be part of something with the help of the folks from Georgia Pecan to send a box to, I don't know, a dozen or so pastry chefs. I think maybe a little bit more than that, and kind of just hopefully spread some cheer. But I want to talk about, you guys both posted, and I got messages from you and several other pastry chefs about that. And chefs get samples of things. That's not a new, like, oh, we got a sample. Tell me about that experience and kind of what you were dealing with. And was that something that was like, oh, that was really important? Or like, I'm just trying to understand the response we got, and you guys got a box of stuff that we helped put together.
I was really excited about the box. I used the chopped pecans for like a pecan brittle and used it for my friend's baby shower cake.
Oh, nice.
And I did like a pecan praline cake for her baby shower, and they were very excited about it.
Pecan praline cake.
Yeah. I've just been trying to come up with some fun flavors for cakes because I don't really want to do cakes that are like Minnie Mouse. That's just not my style. I just want to do like really fun flavor bomb cakes. I guess a Toasty-esque kind of feel, but not her style because I'm gonna do that.
And what all was in the box? I know you mentioned the pieces. Y'all got the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I got
small one. Pecan oil.
I got
pecan oil.
Yeah, my little keychain. I use my keychain, the little pecan. I love that.
I love.
Yeah.
Brittany's holding up. You can't see it on the podcast, but Brittany's holding up her pewter pecan keychain made with actually was interviewing Samantha from the Georgia Pecan Growers, and she said they sent a mammoth half in bubble wrap to the place that did the pewter mold and like did a cast, and so that was an actual pecan from Georgia that they shipped off to this company that made that, which was hilarious because we've given out some keychains, gotten some keychains. That's probably the coolest one I've ever gotten.
Yeah, I love it. I had to clear off my keychain anyways from my old work keys, and I was like, I'm going to put this on there. It's super cute.
That's funny. So Tonya, you mentioned in our Instagram chat that you had made maybe a pie or two with some of the stuff in there. Pies?
Yes, sir. Embarrassingly, I tried to make pecan pralines. Do you guys say pralines or pralines down there?
I say pralines.
I've said it both ways because we worked with Dwayne Ingraham, who he's from real South Louisiana, and he says pralines. And then different people say pralines, but I don't care as long as you hand them to me. You can say it however you want.
Yeah, that's I don't give a cotton-headed any mugging how you say it, yeah.
You don't give a what, Brittany? A cotton-head?
Yeah, I have to replace my words. You know what I really want to say.
She's trying to keep the G rating on the podcast. I appreciate that.
Yes, it's a lot of restraint, but I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it.
So, all right, so you made pralines too? Or?
Yeah, they were so bad. The flavor was really good, but I cooked my sugar too long, not paying attention. So they're like little hard pucks, but the pecans were so good in them that I've been munching through them anyways.
And I'm actually going to pick your brains for some recipe ideas, but that's really funny that you had an experience like that because I've done things like with brown sugar or sugar in a skillet and pecans before that I was like, man, I'm a genius. This is not that hard. And boom, everything worked right. And then I did some with the pieces, and I was going to try to make a carameled pecan deal that then I was going to let firm up and then dip it in some tempered chocolate. And I'd never done, I cooked all kinds of meat and potatoes and rice. I just never do the pastry, the sweet thing. So I had to call Brittany. I was like, how do you work the chocolate and how do you get it to, is it too thick? Is it too thin? Was it going to set? That's not easy to get it just right because there's way more exact science, I think, in candy making than getting a steak to medium rare, because you can do it with lower heat for longer temp or high heat for shorter temp, or, there's lots of different ways to, you can do it in the broiler, you can do it in the oven, you can do it in a skillet, you can do it in a grill, you can throw it in a smoker. There's all these different ways to get the same thing. Not the same with candy making and confectionery.
I mean, I would just say that in pastry in general. If there's one knuckle sandwich that I could give to savory chefs, it would be that, if they like over mix something or it's under seasoned or over seasoned, they can add things to it and bring it back. It may not be exactly what they want, but they can bring it back. But with pastry, man, you screw it up one time, that's it. You better start over.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I like having students and I like teaching them some things, but gosh, I really had to take a chill pill in allowing them to touch or use to do some of the production that I was doing, because I was like, I really need this to go smoothly. And if you mess this up, it's really going to screw me today. So yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, because you could be almost to the finish line and have to just toss the whole thing and start all over.
Yeah, I almost had a heart attack with someone with some cream cheese icing one day, because I do mine a little different. And I was like, you really have to make sure that this is soft, this, and this. And like, yeah, okay, I've done it before. And they did it and it was just screwed. And I was like, well, there goes my day. Guess I'm staying all night, guys. Thanks.
Tonya did some pies. You did the cake. Valentine's Day is coming up. And I've got a bag of pieces at the house. I think I still have some of those, the little Elliott ones that are the super high oil content, sweet ones. What are some ideas of things that we could do, you could do, I could do to make something great with those? Tonya, you hit me first, and we'll go back to Brittany.
Does it have to be sexy? Like Valentine's Day sexy?
I think if it has sugar, chocolate, or sweetened nuts, I think we're good, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I would do like a tart, some kind of tart with it. Chocolate ganache, like a caramel pecan topping on there. That'd be nice.
I like it. All right, Brittany, we're tossing the baton.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with chocolate, and you have to kind of stay, I think, semi-basic with it, because the dudes are going to be eating it too. So you can't be really too cray-cray. I have to keep that in mind when I was ever planning a menu for Valentine's. I mean, you can say praline anything, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's it. That's what I'm gonna. That's what I want." Any dessert you put pecans with, it's always gonna be a crowd pleaser. So I try to keep it good, but milli vanilli. So like, I think I did like a butter pecan ice cream on like a caramel tart or a chocolate tart. But I'm a huge fan for butter pecan ice cream, anything.
My grandmother used to have the Breyer's butter pecan in her freezer year round. I mean, they have the deep freeze with like backups, and so they were never out. I don't know how they weren't 300 pounds. If you were there, you could get a little scoop of butter pecan. They didn't give you a huge bowl, but you could always have some. That's for sure a favorite. I hear you're saying, like, keep it simple. You don't have to go crazy to accomplish your goals there. What about something? So one of the things that I have not figured out the best way to use, and I'm hoping y'all have better ideas and things, but, the mammoth halves, the really big ones, it seems like a shame to chop those up and candy them small or put them in something, right? What are some other ideas that you could do with those?
I candied a bunch of them because I've just been eating them out of the bag. I shared some with my grandmother too, and she also made a pecan pie where she just placed them on top. But I just use the big ones like that for any kind of topping. Like, I don't want to ruin them.
I mean, those are purely for decoration or candying or, just coated in chocolate. I think was it y'all or someone y'all know sent me some chocolate covered pecans? Was it the mammoth?
Yeah, it may have been.
Man, I murdered those. They didn't last long at all.
I figured out the way to not eat the chocolate covered pecans at the house is to go ahead and finish them.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Then you don't have to worry about, there's some in the cabinet. I put them in the back of the safe.
Yeah, I was going to share them, but that didn't work out. Sharing's for caring, so I guess I don't care. It happens. It'd be like that sometimes,
If you're making candy with pecans, should you toast the pecans first and kind of get them a little bit, like kind of activate those oils, or not?
I always toast them.
Are you an oven toaster, a microwave toaster, a skillet toaster? What brand?
I have no time. I skillet toast. But if I have the time, oven.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Probably not been as patient as I should. I've been doing skillet toasting, but sometimes that means that certain parts of them are a little more toasty than others. So.
Yeah. I mean, you just roll the dice. It just means you got to watch it a little better.
Well, very good. Well, look, I appreciate y'all sharing some of your thoughts and ideas on the pecan world. We're going to jump into the lightning round. These are important questions that need to be answered for all of humanity. Get ready.
I think we can all agree that the past year hasn't been the easiest. Hardworking chefs are rethinking menus and product offerings while understaffed and overworked. Join Eat Y'all as we show some love to hundreds of hardworking chefs by giving them the gratitude they deserve and the resources they need to stay inspired. Learn more about how our care package program can work for you at eatyall.com/love. That's eatyall.com/love.
So I'll start with Tonya. Biscuits or cornbread?
Biscuits.
Biscuits. All right. You have one right. Brittany, biscuits or cornbread?
Biscuits.
All right, look at y'all. You're starting off strong. Phil, I think Phil said cornbread, by the way, Tonya, I'm just saying.
Yeah, my husband would say the same thing. He was cornbread all day.
But biscuits is obviously the right answer. Muffin or cupcake?
Cupcake.
God, it really depends on the flavor, guys. I guess cupcake too, because you get the icing. That's the only, the only deciding factor for me.
The icing, all right. I thought muffin was just a healthy cupcake, right?
Yeah. It can be, yes.
All right, so favorite cake or pie? You're writing your cookbook. On the cover, what's your big boom? This represents everything I stand for. Tonya.
Oh, man. Salted caramel cake.
I've been making this cake called a tiramisu cake that I'm really about. I kind of pulled it from other people's ideas, but then kind of formulated my own thing. I'm really into it.
I think I'm going to have to get both of those cookbooks. That sounds really good. Do you put bourbon in your salted caramel?
Yes.
That's the only way to do it. If you're from Kentucky, right? I mean, come on.
Yes.
All right. So here's the next question. Do you cook dinner most nights at home?
Oh, gosh. As of lately, no. I've been lazy.
How about you, Brittany?
It's going to be a no for me, dog. I like to be wined and dined.
So man candy better take you out or cook for you?
Yeah. Feed me often. Or I get angry.
All right. So favorite barbecue, ribs, brisket, pulled pork, or chicken?
Brisket.
Tonya goes brisket.
Yeah. I'm a brisket girl too.
Brittany's off the top rope with the brisket too. All right. Favorite cut of steak?
I'm going to have to say ribeye.
There you go.
Yeah. I like a good ribeye.
I'm not a crazy huge steak person, but I'm going to say filet mignon.
Filet mignon. You like it butterflied, well done, Brittany? Is that what you're
No. You go to hell. I know I'm from Alabama, but I like mine medium. Thank you.
You know I've got to poke a little bit. Okay. We're going to jump back to Brittany. One concert, any band in history, you and Jacob could go and just, rock it out. Who do you go see?
Me and Jacob? Oh, God.
You don't have to take him. It's your question.
He's a little cancer homebody. He doesn't get out much. Gosh, I'm a huge fan of Jack White. So when I saw the Racketeers in Florence, Alabama, that was awesome. And I got to meet him. So that was even more awesomer.
So Jack White.
Yes. I love him so much.
What you got, Tonya?
Gary Clark Jr.
Oh, what's your favorite Gary Clark Jr. song?
Oh my gosh, all of them. He's my favorite. Phil knows I'd leave him for him.
And that's what Jacob knows. I was like, God, I hope he never comes to me like, Brittany, I know I remember that day I took that picture with you and I just can't stop thinking about you. I'd be like, well, guys.
This was apparently that was a great question, right? All right, so going back to you, Brittany, if you could have dinner with any three people, living or dead, who do you invite?
I think Princess Diana. Gosh, that's a hard one. That's one I have to like kind of think about. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Elvis Presley, so Elvis Presley and Loretta Lynn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Princess Di, Elvis, and Loretta Lynn. All right. How about you, Miss Tonya?
Gary Clark Jr., just because he's in my mind now. Julia Child, and maybe like a pastor so that he can, wed us in front of Julia, our witness.
Oh gosh, I can't wait for Phil and Jacob to listen to the podcast. That is really good. All right, so favorite beverage: whiskey, beer, wine, kombucha.
For me right now, it's water. Even though I love a nice glass of wine, but I feel like for the next year I'm going to be sober.
We can, yep, and we'll have things to celebrate for that next year. So
growing a little person.
Yeah. It's probably not recommended to get too excited about that. All right, but so if you were, it would be a great red wine, Cabernet.
I like a good Chardonnay. I had like fake Chardonnay, like a non-alcoholic wine, and it just wasn't it. So,
all right, Brittany, favorite. No, it can't be Bang the energy drink. It's got to be an actual.
No, I love a really good dirty martini.
Dirty martini. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So, Tonya, if Phil got a call tonight that said you'd been arrested, what does he assume you've done?
Murder.
She didn't even hesitate.
I swear that was real fast. She's got somebody on her mind.
Who did she? That would be.
I mean, usually we go for speeding or public intoxication or.
So I failed that question.
I mean, it's okay.
No, I say a plus. That was great.
I watch a lot of First 48.
Yes.
It's just murder. I don't know. I think he would assume that I've killed someone, which I don't know if that's. I don't know how to feel about it.
Well, let's not find out, but, hypothetically. All right, Brittany.
Gosh, there's just so many. Yeah, I guess public intoxication. Just because, sometimes I like having fun. So, yeah.
At the Jack White concert.
Yeah.
Mercy. All right, so if we are celebrating, and let's assume that everybody's off the wagon and ready to pop some bubbly or martinis or whatever 1 year from today, and we're like, hey, Tonya, let's celebrate 1 year from today. What's the occasion that we're celebrating? What just happened?
What month is this? February? Kismet had open for a year. Restaurant owner for a year. That'd be pretty cool to celebrate.
Yeah.
And Brittany, how about you?
My birthday, because it was Monday.
Oh,
hey. Yeah. Thank you. We're actually going out tonight to celebrate my B-Day, so
awesome.
I'm excited to say the least.
I get wine and dine.
She did.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends is a chef at a restaurant, and then they're all safe. We're all going to wear a mask and blah blah blah, so it'll be fine. But I'm excited. It's be a good menu.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank y'all for being on the podcast with us. It's been a real treat. And tell folks how to find your restaurants and keep up with you in the next phase of what both of y'all are up to. Online, Instagram, websites, all that. Yeah,
Instagram, Kismet_KY is the IG handle. My personal one is _Tonya Mays, TONYA.
And Brittany?
For me, when I really start out my website and my Instagram, I have my Instagram up and my website, but it's in the works, but it's the Dega Darling.
The Dega Darling.
Yeah, let me tell you about that. So one night I went out with friends and we went to a drag show, and I was talking to one of the drag queens, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I love your accent." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm from," he goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Talladega County." He goes, "Oh, the Dega darling." And I was like, "Whoa." I mean, that's going to be my name, guys. So he blessed me with that name.
Brittany was the first person, and I've known a lot of people from Alabama who actually taught me the correct way to say it. It's not Talladega. Like, I don't know what Eric Church is singing about. Talladega. No, it's Talladega. There's a IGG. Talladega.
Yeah. Digga. Yeah.
And we've been digging on that ever since chef camp up in North Carolina, when Brittany explained all that to me. Talladega County. And your mom and your sister both confirmed that was the right way to say it.
Yeah. I'll be doing that, and then I'll help. Then I'm working with my friend at his pizza restaurant called the Area 41 Pizza Company, and they have an Instagram as well. So I'll start doing their breads and desserts. So I don't know. The world's kind of at oyster right now, and I'm ready for whatever the universe wants to sling my way.
You're fired up.
See.
And she does go into Spanish sometimes.
Yeah.
Just back and forth. Let's see. All right. Well, look, thank y'all for joining me on the podcast. It's been a real treat, and best of luck to you guys in the new, I guess we're in the new year, but as things roll out into the rest of 2021.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Eat Y'all Podcast, hosted by Eat Y'all founder and chief relationship officer, Andy Chapman. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to us if you'd join us in our mission to save family farms by subscribing and leaving a review. Even better, share this episode and follow us on your favorite social media account at Let's Eat Y'all.